Panorama of the city of Interzone, opening bars of East St. Louis Toodaloo, at times loud and clear, then faint and intermittent like music down a windy street. The composite city where all human potentials are spread out in a vast silent market. Minarets, palms, mountains, jungle. A sluggish river jumping with vicious fish, vast weed-grown parks where boys lie in the grass, play cryptic games, not a locked door in the city. Anyone comes into your room at any time. The chief of police is a Chinese who picks his teeth and listens to denunciations presented by a lunatic. Every now and then, the Chinese takes the toothpick out of his mouth and looks at the end of it. Hipsters with smooth copper-colored faces lounge in doorways, twisting shrunk heads on gold chains, their faces blank with an insect's unseeing calm. Behind them, through open doors, tables and booths and bars and kitchens and baths, copulating couples on rows of brass beds, crisscross of 1,000 hammocks, junkies tying up for a shot, opium smokers, hashish smokers, people eating, talking, bathing, back into a haze of smoke and steam. Gaming tables where the games are played for incredible stakes. From time to time, a player leaps up with a despairing cry, having lost his youth to an old man or become lata to his opponent. But there are higher stakes than youth or lata. Games where only 2 players in the world know what the stakes are. All houses in the city are joined. Houses of sod-high mountain Mongols blink in smoky doorways. Houses of bamboo and teak. Houses of adobe, stones, and red brick. South Pacific and Maori houses, houses in trees and riverboats, wood houses 100 feet long sheltering entire tribes, houses of boxes and corrugated iron where old men sit in rotted rags, cooking down canned heat, great rusty iron racks rising 200 feet in the air from swamps and rubbish with perilous partitions built on multi-leveled platforms and hammocks swinging over the void. Expeditions leave for unknown places with unknown purposes. Strangers arrive on rafts of old packing crates tied together with rotten rope. They stagger in out of the jungle, their eyes swollen shut from insect bites. They come down the mountain trails on cracked, bleeding feet through the dusty, windy outskirts of the city, where people defecate in rows along the adobe walls and vultures fight over fish heads. They drop down into parks in patched parachutes. They are escorted by a drunken cop to register in a vast public lavatory. The data taken down is put on pegs to be used as toilet paper. Cooking smells of all countries hang over the city, a haze of opium, hashish, the resinous red smoke of yahe, smell of the jungle and salt water and the rotting river and dried excrement and sweat and genitals. High mountain flutes, jazz and bebop, one-string Mongol instruments, gypsy xylophones, African drums, Arab bagpipes. The city is visited by epidemics of violence, and the untended dead are eaten by vultures in the streets. Albinos blink in the sun. Boys sit in trees languidly masturbate. People eaten by unknown diseases watch the passerby with evil, knowing eyes. In the city market is the meat cafe. Followers of obsolete, unthinkable trades doodling in Etruscan, addicts of drugs not yet synthesized, pushers of souped-up harmine, junk reduced to pure habit offering precarious vegetable serenity, liquids to induce lata, Tithonian longevity serums, black marketeers of World War III, excisers of telepathic sensitivity, osteopaths of the spirit, investigators of infractions denounced by bland, paranoid chess players, servers of fragmentary warrants taken down in hibophrenic shorthand, charging unspeakable mutilations of the spirit, bureaucrats of spectral departments, officials of unconstituted police states, a lesbian dwarf who has perfected Operation Bung Utat, the lung erection that strangles a sleeping enemy, sellers of orgone tanks and relaxing machines, brokers of exquisite dreams and memories tested on the synthesized cells of junk sickness and bartered for raw materials of the will. Doctors skilled in the treatment of diseases dormant in the black dust of ruined cities, gathering virulence in the white blood of eyeless worms feeling slowly to the surface in the human host, maladies of the ocean floor and stratosphere, maladies of the laboratory and atomic war, a place where the unknown past and the emergent future meet in a vibrating, soundless hum, larval entities waiting for a live one. Section describing the city and the meat cafe written in state of Yahe intoxication. Yahe ayahuasca, pilde natema are Indian names for Banisteriopsis kaapi, a fast-growing vine indigenous to the Amazon regions. See discussion of Yahe in appendix. Notes from Yahe state. Images fall slow and silent like snow, serenity. All defenses fall. Everything is free to enter or to go out. Fear is simply impossible. A beautiful blue substance flows into me. I see an archaic grinning face like South Pacific mask. The face is blue-purple splotched with gold. The room takes on aspects of Near East whorehouse with blue walls and red tasseled lamps. I feel myself turning into a negress, the black color silently invading my flesh. Convulsions of lust. My legs take on a well-rounded Polynesian substance. Everything stirs with a writhing, furtive life. The room is Near East, Negro, South Pacific, and some familiar place I cannot locate. Yahe is space-time travel. The room seems to shake and vibrate with motion. The blood and substance of many races, Negro, Polynesian, mountain Mongol, desert nomad, polyglot Near East, Indian, races as yet uncovered and unborn, passes through the body, migrations, incredible journeys through deserts and jungles and mountains. Stasis and death in closed mountain valley where plants grow out of genitals, vast crustaceans hatch inside and break the shell of body across the Pacific in an outrigger canoe to Easter Island. It occurs to me that preliminary Yahe nausea is the motion sickness of transport to Yahe state. All medicine men use it in their practice to foretell the future, locate lost or stolen items, to diagnose and treat illness, to name the perpetrator of a crime. Since the Indian, straitjacket for hair boas, trade joke, nothing so maddens an anthropologist as primitive man, referring to them as contemptuously as our naked cousins, does not regard any death as accidental, and they are unacquainted with their own self-destructive trends, or perhaps feeling that these trends above all are subject to the manipulations of alien and hostile wills. Any death is murder. The medicine man takes Yahe, and the identity of the murderer is revealed to him. As you may imagine, the deliberations of the medicine man during one of these jungle inquests gives rise to certain feelings of uneasiness among his constituents. Let's hope old Ziopututol don't wig and name one of my boys. Take a cure and relax. We got the fix in. But if he wig, picking up on that Natima all the time, he don't touch the ground in 20 years. I tell you, boss, nobody can hit the stuff like that. It cooks the brains. So do we declare him an incompetent? So Ziopututol reels out of the jungle and says the boys in the lower Tzupino territory done it, which surprises no one. Take it from an old brujo, dearie. They don't like surprises. A funeral passes through the market. Black coffin, Arabic inscriptions and filigreed silver carried by 4 pallbearers. Procession of mourners singing the funeral song. Clem and Jody fall in beside them, carrying a coffin. The corpse of a hog bursts out of it. The hog is dressed in jalaba. A keef pipe juts from its mouth. One hoof holds a packet of filthy pictures. A mezuzot hangs about its neck. Inscribed on the coffin, "This was the noblest Arab of them all." They sing hideous parody of the funeral song in false Arabic. Jody can do a fake Chinese spiel that'll just kill you, like an hysterical ventriloquist dummy. In fact, he precipitated an anti-foreign riot in Shanghai that claimed 3,000 casualties. Stand up, Gertie, and show respect for the local gooks. I suppose one should. My dear, I'm working on the most marvelous invention. A boy who disappears as soon as you come, leaving the smell of burning leaves and the sound effect of distant train whistles. Ever make sex in no gravity? Your jism just floats out in the air like lovely ectoplasm, and female guests are subject to immaculate or at least indirect conception. Reminds me of an old friend of mine, one of the handsomest men I have ever known, and one of the maddest and absolutely ruined by wealth. He used to go about with a water pistol, shooting jism up career women at parties, when all his paternity suits, hands down, never used his own jism, you understand. Fade out. Order in the court. Attorney for AJ. Conclusive tests have established that my client has no personal connection with the little accident of the charming plaintiff. Perhaps she is preparing to emulate the Virgin Mary and conceive immaculately. Naming my client as a harumph ghostly pander, I am reminded of a case in 15th century Holland where a young woman accused an elderly and respectable sorcerer of conjuring up a succubus, who then had a carnal knowledge of the young person in question, with the under the circumstances regrettable result of pregnancy. So the sorcerer was indicated as an accomplice and rampant voyeur before, during, and after the fact. However, gentlemen of the jury, we no longer credit such legends, and a young woman attributing her interesting condition to the attentions of a succubus would be accounted in these enlightened days as romanticist, or in plain English, a goddamn liar. And now the prophet's hour. Millions died in the mud flats, only one blast free to lungs. Aye, aye, Captain, he said, squirting his eyes out on the deck. And who would put on the chains tonight? It is indicated that to observe some caution in the upward wind approach, the downwind having failed to turn up anything worth a rusty load. Senoritas are the wear this season in hell, and I am tired with the long climb to a pulsing Vesuvius of alien pricks. Need Orient Express out of here to no hide place or mines are frequent in the area. Every day dig a little it takes up the time. Jack off phantoms whisper hot into the bone ear. Shoot your way to freedom. Christ, sneers the vicious fruity old saint applying pancakes from an alabaster bowl. That cheap ham. You'd think I'd demean myself to commit a miracle? That one should have stood in carny. Step right up, Marquies and Marks, and bring the little Marks too. Good for young and old, man and beast. The one and only legit Son of Man will cure a young boy's clap with one hand-by contact alone. Folks create marijuana with the other, whilst walking on water and squirting wine out of his ass. Now keep your distance, folks. You is subject to be irradiated by the sheer charge of this character. And I knew him when, dearie. I recall we was doing an impersonation act, very high class too, in Saddam, and that is one cheap town, strictly from hunger. Well, this citizen, this fucking Philistine, wandered in from Podunk Ball or someplace, called me a fucking fruit right on the floor, and I said to him, 3,000 years in show business, and I always keep my nose clean. Besides, I don't have to take any shit off of any uncircumcised cocksucker. Later he come to my dressing room and made an apology. Turns out he's a big physician, and he was a lovely fella, too. Buddha, a notorious metabolic junkie. Makes his own, you dig. In India, where they got no sense of time, the man is often a month late. Now let me see, is that the second or the third monsoon? I got like a meet in Kitchapuri, about more or less. And all them junkies sitting around in the lotus posture, spitting on the ground and waiting on the man. So Buddha says, I don't have to take this sound. I'll, by God, metabolize my own junk. Man, you can't do that. The revenuers will swarm all over you. Over me, they won't swarm. I got a gimmick, see? I'm a fucking holy man as of right now. Jeez, boss, what an angle. Now, some citizens really wig when they make with the new religion. These frantic individuals do not know how to come on. No class to them. Besides, they is subject to be lynched. Like, who wants somebody hanging around being better than other folks? What are you trying to do, Jack? Give people a bad time? So we gotta play it cool, you dig? Cool. We gotta take it and leave it. We gotta take it or leave it proposition here, folks. We don't shove anything up your soul, unlike certain cheap characters who shall be nameless and are nowhere. Clear the cave for action. I'm gonna metabolize a speedball and make with a fire sermon. Mohammed, are you kidding? He was dreamed up by a Mecca Chamber of Commerce. An Egyptian ad man on the skids from the sauce write the continuity. I'll have one more, Gus, then by Allah, I will go home and receive a surah. Wait till the morning edition hits the souks. I'm blasting amalgamated images wide open. The bartender looks up from his racing form. Yeah, and theirs will be a painful doom. Oh, quite. Now, Gus, I'll write you a check. You are only being the most notorious paper hanger in Greater Mecca. I am not a wall, Mr. Muhammad. Well, Gus, I got like 2 types of publicity, favorable and otherwise. You want some otherwise already? I am subject to receive a surah concerning bartenders who extendeth not credit to those in a needy way. And theirs will be a painful doom, Sold Arabia. He vaults over the bar. I'm not taking any more, Ahmed. Pick up thy surahs and walk. In fact, I'll help you. And stay out. I'll fix your wagon good, you unbelieving cocksucker. I'll call you up tight and dry as a junkie's asshole. I'll by Allah dry up the peninsula. It's a continent already. Leave what Confucius say and stand with little Audrey with the shaggy dogs. Lao Tzu, they scratch him already. And enough of these gooey saints with a look of pathetic dismay as if they getting fucked up the ass and try not to pay it any mind. And why should we let some old broken down ham tell us what wisdom is? 3,000 years in show business, and I always keep my nose clean. First, every fact is incarcerate along with the male hustlers and those who desecrate the gods of commerce by playing ball in the streets, and some old white-haired fuck staggers out to give us the benefits of his ripe idiocy. Are we never to be free of this gray-beard loon lurking on every mountaintop in Tibet, subject to drag himself out of a hut in the Amazon, waylay one in the Bowery? I've been expecting you, my son, and he make with a silo full of corn. Life is a school where every pupil must learn a different lesson, and now I will unlock my word hoard. I do fear it much. Nay, nothing shall stem the rising tide. I can't stem him, boys. Sauve que peut. I tell you, when I leave the wise man, I don't even feel like a human. He converting my live organs into dead bullshit. So I got an exclusive. Why don't I make with the live word? The word cannot be expressed direct. It can perhaps be indicated by mosaic of juxtaposition, like articles of abandon in a hotel drawer defined by negatives and absence. Think I'll have my stomach tucked. I may be old, but I'm still desirable. The stomach tuck is surgical intervention to remove stomach fat, at the same time making a tuck in the abdominal wall, thus creating a flesh corset, which is, however, subject to break and spurt your horrible old guts across the floor. The slime and shapely FC models are, of course, the most dangerous. In fact, some extreme models are known as ONS, one-night stands in the industry. Dr. Doodles Renfest states bluntly, bed is the most dangerous place for an FC man. The FC theme song is, believe me if all these endearing young charms. An FC partner is indeed subject to fleet from your arms like a fairy gifts fading away. In a white museum room full of sunlit pink nudes 60 feet high, vast adolescent muttering. Silver guardrails, chasm 1,000 feet down into the glittering sunlight, little green plots of cabbage and lettuce, brown youths with ads spied by the old queen across a sewage canal. Oh dear, I wonder if they'll fertilize with human excrement. Maybe they'll do it right now. He flips out mother-of-pearl opera glasses, Aztec mosaic in the sun. Long line of Greek lads march up with alabaster bowls of shit, empty into the limestone marl hole. Dusty poplars shake across the red brick Plaza de Toros in the afternoon wind. Wooden cubicles around a hot spring, rubble of ruined walls and a grove of cottonwoods. The benches worn smooth as metal by a million masturbating boys. Greek lads, white as marble, fuck dog style on the portico of a great golden temple. Naked mugwump twangs a lute. Walking down by the tracks in his red sweater, met Sammy the dockkeeper's son with 2 Mexicans. Hey, Skinny, he said, want to get screwed? Well, yeah. On a ruined straw mattress, the Mexican pulled him up on all fours. Negro boy danced around him, beating out the strokes. Sun through a knothole, pink spotlights his cock. A waste of raw pink shame to the pastel blue horizon where vast iron mesas crash into the shattered sky. It's all right, the god screams through the 3,000-year rusty load. Hail of crystal skulls shattered the green house to silver in the winter moon. The American woman has left a whiff of poison behind in the dank St. Louis garden party. Pool covered with green slime in a ruined French garden. Huge pathic frog rises slowly from the water on a mud platform playing the clavichord. A Salubi rushes into the bar and starts polishing the saint's shoes with the oil on his nose. The saint kicks him petulantly in the mouth. The Salubi screams, whirls around, and shits on the saint's pants. Then he dashes into the street. A pimp looks after him, speculatively. The saint calls the manager. Jesus, Al, what kind of creep joint you running here? My brand new fishskin degagees. I'm sorry, saint, he slipped by me. The Salubi are an untouchable caste in Arabia noted for their abject vileness. Deluxe cafes are equipped with Salubi who rim the guests while they eat. holes in the seating benches being provided for this purpose. Citizens who want to be utterly humiliated and degraded, so many people do nowadays, hoping to jump the gun, offer themselves up for passive homosexual intercourse to an encampment of Salubis. Nothing like it, they tell me. In fact, the Sulubi are subject to become wealthy and arrogant and lose their native vileness, what is origin of untouchable. Perhaps a fallen priest caste. In fact, untouchables perform a priestly function in taking on themselves all human vileness. AJ strolls through the market in black cape, with a vulture perched on one shoulder. He stands by a table of agents. This you gotta hear. Boy in Los Angeles, 15 years old. Father decides it's time for the boy to have a first piece of ass. Boy is lying on the lawn, reading comic books. Father go out and say, "Son, here's $20. I want you to go to a good whore and get a piece of ass off her." So they drive to this plush jump joint, and the father says, "All right, son, you're on your own. So ring the bell, and when the woman comes, give her the $20 and tell her you want a piece of ass." "Solid, Pop." So about 15 minutes later, the boy comes out. "Well, son, did you get a piece of ass?" "Yeah, this gash comes to the door, and I say I want a piece of ass, and I lay the double Swarovski on her. So we go up to her trap, and she removes the dry goods. So I switch my blade and cut a big hunk off her ass. She raises a beef like I'm reduced to pull off one shoe and beat her brains out. Then I hump of her kicks. Only the laughing bones remain. Flesh over the hills and far away, with the dawn wind and a train whistle. We are not unaware of the problem, and the needs of our constituents are never out of our minds, being their place of residence, and who can break a 99-year synapsis lease? Another installment in the adventures of Clem Snide, the private asshole. So I walk in the joint, and this female hustler sit at the bar, and I think, oh God, you're Pool de Luxe already? I mean, it's like I see the gash before, so I don't pay her no mind at first. Then I dig she's rubbing her legs together and working her feet up behind her head, shoves it down to give herself a douche job when the gadget sticks out of her nose the way a body can't help but notice. Iris, half Chinese and half Negro, addicted to dihydroxyheroin, takes a shot every 15 minutes, to which end she leaves droppers and needles sticking out all over her. The needles rust in her dry flesh, which here and there has grown completely over a joint to form a smooth green-brown wen. On the table in front of her is a samovar of tea and 20-pound hamper of brown sugar. No one has ever seen her eat anything else. It is only just before a shot that she hears what anyone says or talks herself. Then she makes some flat, factual statement relative to her own person. "My asshole is occluding. My cunt got terrible green juices." Iris is one of Benway's project. "This human body can run on sugar alone. God damn it. I am aware that certain of my learned colleagues who are attempting to belittle my genius work claim that I put vitamins and proteins in Iris's sugar clandestinely. I challenge these nameless assholes to crawl out of their latrines and run a spot analysis on Iris's sugar and her tea. Iris is a wholesome American cunt. I deny categorically that she nourishes herself on semen. And let me take this opportunity to state that I am a reputable scientist, not a charlatan, a lunatic, or a pretended worker of miracles. I never claimed that Iris could subsist exclusively on photosynthesis. I did not say she could breathe in carbon dioxide and give off oxygen. I confess I have been tempted to experiment, being of course restrained by my medical ethics. In short, the vile slanders of my creeping opponents will inevitably fall back onto them and come to roost like a homing stool pigeon."